Good evening. This is Arlo Johnson from Vernon, British Columbia. It's September the 8th at 8:53, just about 9 o'clock p.m. Weather's cooled right down here, down to maybe 55, 50 degrees right now. And it's 9 o'clock at night, so I guess it cools down. But we're into fall, that's for sure. I don't know where you're at, but the weather's still good though. I mean, it was nice warm today, nice warm day. I suppose all around the world it's actually not that bad. I see on storm places, but I think they're getting a storm in California. So the thing is, I've been noticing, well, I've noticed for a long time, but why do we all try to extend our life at all costs? Not everybody, but most likely 95%. I guess it's because it's the idea of survival. Another day, whatever. To live another day, and so that's the only reason I can think of, because we're not finite, infinite or nothing. We're finite. We just last for so long and we're gone. The thing that I kind of rail a little bit about is, here I am just a few months from being 90 years old, and I notice, well, if I go into any kind of health place at all, it's plumb full of people, wall to wall. Doesn't matter what it is. Cataracts, eye surgery. I know what what do you do? What is it? Kidney dialysis. That's full going on all the time. Go up to the hospital, it's full. It's always full, full, full. People trying to extend their life and deal with pain, I guess. The thing is, it doesn't really pay to do that. I mean, if your life's okay and everything, that's great. That's the way it's supposed to be. But to kick and scream and try and get another day or two out of it, I don't see that. And I didn't hardly take any pills till I was 75 years old. And for a while I had pills galore, taking pills for this, that, statin, this. And I just sort of quit. The only thing I take now is some metformin for diabetes. I just said to hell with it. But I suppose, I don't know if that's a good idea, but I mean, I've been doing that for quite a while now. I remember that my mother, okay, let's start again. When my father died, she would be up by 9 o'clock in the morning down in the lobby of the apartment building, dressed to the nines, sitting by the door, waiting to leave at maybe 10 o'clock. She was ready an hour early because she had an appointment at the podiatrist. The next day, she's sitting in the lobby again. She's got an appointment at the diabetic clinic. Then she's got I looked at her calendar, and I kid you not, 5 days a week was full of appointments, right through the whole month. Appointments. That was her schedule. That was her social life. When she died, it was kind of sad because when I threw out all the pill bottles and jugs of pills at a big black garbage bag full. She'd go to this doctor, but she'd go to another doctor too. Here, get pills there, get pills here. In fact, she was getting pretty sick. She had heart trouble and whatever, and diabetic and this and that. She was not feeling well, and my sister, my oldest sister, got a hold of her and said, "Come on and stay, come on for the weekend. Come on over to my place for the weekend." And when she got there, she took all her pills away except her heart pills. And by Monday, she was feeling way better. She was actually poisoning herself with the pills this doctor prescribed and that doctor prescribed, and over-prescribed to no end. When you think about it, no wonder health costs are unbelievable. Oh, that's something that in my lifetime wasn't like that. That has developed like that over the last 30, 40 years. Just a continual deal going up, up, up. Doctors didn't make 400,000 a year, man. Oh, maybe 50,000, 60, 50. Mind you, it was kind of relative, I guess. They didn't have clinics, and they didn't have, all that sort of stuff. But, this world is definitely on a course to shut down, because it's going to have to shut down. It has become polluted, and I'm not a great one on that. I'm not an environmentalist who's running around trying to save the planet, I can tell you that. But that's a big lie. That planet is not going to be saved at all. The planet is going to be run right down, it's going to be finished, and it's going to be basically destroyed. It's going to be purged with fire. God says He's creating a new heaven and a new earth. And in a previous podcast or a video, I talked to you about the deal about the city of God that's spoke of in the book of Revelations in verse 20 or something like that. Gives you the size of the city. And basically it won't fit on this planet. Oh, I gotta stop for a minute. I usually say at the end, would you please subscribe if you care to do so? If I don't say that now, if I do that at the end, there's nobody listening. I'm pretty sure of that. They don't listen to the end. Some do. I imagine some do. But if you would, it'd be a good thing. I thought I better put that in because I don't like having to inject it in a place and cut it off. Yeah, the city that God has planned for this earth doesn't fit on this earth. It has to be a bigger earth. Way bigger. Way, way bigger. God said, all He said is, I'm creating a new heaven and a new earth. Heavens and the earth will disappear. And He said there'll be no more sea. Can you imagine that? I booked another cruise for December the 5th down to Mexico and Sea of Cortez for 11 days. And I've been on quite a few cruises actually now. But I can sit out on the deck at the back of the Lido and just sit there and look at the ocean and contemplate this humongous amount of water I mean, it didn't get there by itself. Not a chance. It had to be created by somebody and put there. And it is such a thing. Water is such a thing. It's liquid, solid, and gas. 3 different forms. All the same stuff. And you know, I often think that we complicate things way too much. I think God's formula for things is actually very simple sometimes, complicated maybe, but in another way, very basic. For instance, he created Adam out of the dust of the ground, and he obviously had to have some moisture or something to do that, and formed and set Adam. Before that time, he created people by creation, not by forming. I think that's a big difference. I think Adam was formed and set as he was the first son of God. And I don't think that we're actually any different than he is. I don't think so. Watering eyes. And when we talk about water, we use water because we're obviously 70% water. Adam, I guess, was 70% water too, as we are. Can you imagine God developing a system so precise, you know, and so intricately made? He says, "You are wonderfully and intricately made." Well, I guess so. I guess so. Really, oh, it's amazing. What in the world is that? Amazing doesn't even cover it. It gives you, it makes you think that, you know, what a intelligence there must be in this universe that can do all that. And that he actually created us. Not every one of it. He created a system that creates us. Once he set the system in place, created male and female, that's it. Boom, 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 boom. The male has no idea what he's doing except he's got an urge to do it. The female kind of wants to do it for some reason. She doesn't know why, but she does. And she goes through childbirth and screams and hollers and, you know, pain and whatever. They claim, oh, it's such a terrible pain, but then I'll do it again. Oh, and I'll do it again. It's no memory of that later on. Yes, yes, it's a wonderful system actually, but here's the problem, and you know it doesn't help to skid around it or skip around it or around the problem at all. You know, I like this. I heard this one guy in the States. He's running for president. Yet, fairly young guy, Vivek Ramaswamy. I liked his answer to some questions. He said when he has a problem, he doesn't want to manage it. He wants to get rid of the problem. He said that's been the problem with politicians and governments for a long time. They have this problem and they decide they're going to manage this problem. Problem of drug addiction, homelessness, robbery, murder, crime, manage the problem. He said they have a problem now with a corrupt FBI system, which is corrupt from the top, maybe not the bottom, but the top is corrupt, and they think, well, they're going to manage this, they're going to do this, redo the top. He said, no, you get rid of the total. You can't get rid of a part of it and yet get rid of the problem. You have to get rid of the whole problem. And I think that goes for everything in life. If you just manage it, I mean, I tried managing a problem I had for a while, and it just stayed there. Never got any better. It got worse, but it sure didn't get any better until I got rid of the problem. And I think God looks at things like that too. Like people say they're going to save the planet. We've got to save the planet. The United Nations says right now, we've got to do more to save the planet. That means people are going to suffer for no good reason because they cannot stop it. I guarantee you that you will not be able to save the planet. I can't save it and you can't save it. God's not going to save it. God is going to get rid of this planet. This planet has served its purpose. He's raised 100 million, or no, 100 billion, I guess, sons that he began to, his business, whole business is predicated on that. When you think about it, that's what it is. And women maybe don't like to hear that, but there'll be sons in his kingdom. There won't be women. Be no women. No two sexes. No reason for the woman. None. But that doesn't mean that women aren't going to be in heaven or in God's heaven. If they were a believer in Jesus Christ and believe that's the same as a man does it or whatever, and is resurrected, they'll be resurrected the same as the man. Only the man won't quite be like he was either. He'll be, the understanding is it'll be look similar to a young male, 20-year-old male. The woman will look the same. So she'll be there. And there's certainly nothing wrong with that. You live on a planet that is 372 times bigger than it is now for eternity, with the creator of the universe who lives forever. And you get to live forever with him. I don't know how people can turn something like that down, when on one hand you're offered eternal life in a perfect body, no pain, no nothing. You live perfectly great all the way around. Versus suffering and death. God says, my laws are very simple. They're there for your benefit. But if you don't keep them, you're in conflict with my law. And the penalty for not keeping my law is death. That law never changes. It's there forever. Jesus paid that penalty so you don't have to die. Took your place. How do you like that? Do you have any buddies around or friends around that just jump up and down and do that for you tomorrow? I doubt it. But anyway, there's one thing that I guess maybe you've heard of, and I've certainly heard of it, and I've thought about it, is Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. and no one comes to the Father except through me. Now, there's 1.3 billion or something Muslims. There's all kinds of Chinese, and there's Hindus and whatever, by the billions. Do you know that the city of God is built with the 10 or the 12 tribes of Israel all named in this city, in the steps and in the foundations, and now, what does that mean? The 10 tribes of Israel, or the 12 tribes of Israel, I guess, but especially the 10 lost tribes that were driven out of Israel by God for 2,520 years, were Israelites. They traveled all the way and kept going west. Through, Asia, Europe, west, 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 all the way till they got to Scandinavia and the Isles, England, Ireland, Scotland, and all through Western Europe. And if you've noticed, they're white race. And you say, well, I say, where did they come from then? They obviously, that's must be who they are. God said they wouldn't know who they are. They would forget who they are. But he also said, I'll sift them out of the nations, and I won't lose one. Isn't that something? John Wayne used to say, where does all these Indians come? Oh no, what are all these Indians doing on my land? He might be saying something that is way above us and the truth that we don't even understand. North America was sitting there for thousands of years with Indian tribes roaming around here and there. North America is a third of the landmass of the earth. Here and there, here and there, here and there. They didn't build roads, railroads, or stores, or, they didn't build, I don't know of Indians that built airplanes or ships or airplanes, anything. No, they hunted and fished and bushed. They're from, in my view, they are from the sixth-day creation, where all the aboriginals in this world were from, I believe. Now, as far as them owning the land, that is not true. They were occupiers, but they were not possessors. They didn't possess the land. They traveled through it and went on. But here's the thing: for the 10 tribes of Israel that ended up in Europe and started overpopulating Europe, when the 2,520 years were up, these people, if you look in the history books and everything else, you'll see that it was like an awakening to them. They woke up. All of a sudden they're doing things that they'd never done before. Steam engines, ships, Iron Age. They was finished with the Iron Age and they were into Industrial Revolution in no time at all. And they got to be too many of them. and they had to immigrate. So where did they immigrate? They started going to North America, which was held, it absolutely looks to me like it was held in reserve for the white race, the Israelites. God promised them that land. Why did the white race of this world get the best land on the planet? That's where they got it. And all riches come from the land. That's an Abrahamic promise that God gave to Abraham. Now the time has come, and it's coming fast. The white race on this planet has had their day. They've blown it. They couldn't follow the deal. They broke every law that God had. So God is going to let them suffer for it. That's what's called Jacob's trouble, or the tribulation, or what these people worried about is global warming and destruction and blah, 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 blah. It's going to be something like that, only, only 20 times, 50 times worse than we even think. But here's the thing. Of all the generations since Adam till now, and I don't know how many that is, but most likely many thousands, will not suffer that except one last generation. It'll hit them just straight on like that. They're the ones that are going to suffer it. And it looks like they're the ones who are going to be the most guilty of breaking every law that God has. They're just getting awful close to that now. So, breaking law, so there's going to be the big, heavy penalty. God is going to bring to the fore all his wrath that is built up, because he's able to contain it. The humans can't do that, but God can. God can forget your sins or what you've done wrong. I can forgive somebody, but I can't forget. God can forgive me and forget it. Big difference. He wipes it away. He has power to do that. So my final word on that would be, it's big trouble coming for the white race especially. It's not going to wipe out the whole world, but it's going to kill about a third. A third of the world is going to be destroyed and killed, for sure. And then, see, that nothing works like it's all bad. In this case, it's bad for that generation living right then. It may not be bad for you, it may not be bad for me, but it'll be very bad for maybe my children, or later, who knows. Bad. Destruction. Total suffering, destruction for those people. They're going to be the brunt of the whole thing. The good part is he takes everything back and remakes everything. Earth, heavens and the earth, new city, all his children going to be living with him forever. That's the end result. In a perfect kingdom with perfect life. That's the hope. Because without hope, there's no sense getting up. And you should always I keep that hope in front of me all the time. People may not think that, but I do. And I don't know if I'm going to be qualified for anything, but it would be nice if it did happen. So here's the thing. We've got to leave on a high note, on a hopeful thing. And that would be that I would hope that it would be such such a thing in this kingdom that I would know who the other people are. And if that's the case, I'd like to see you there and meet you there. How's that? Bye for now. God bless, and we'll talk later.